We are recording now.
All right.
All right, cool. All right. Welcome, everyone. This is the first interview that I'm doing on this channel. So today we got a very special guest, one that I've known for a while. It is Chase Ruel. Or wait, how do you say your last name?
Ruel?
I'll cut this out. Ruel, sorry.
No, you're good. Keep it in. I like that.
All right, so...
We've been friends for like 3 years. I wouldn't expect you to know how to pronounce my last name. It's stupid. No, everyone gets it wrong. It's like everyone says Chase Ruel.
Oh,
like,
really?
No, there's been maybe 2 people in my entire life who right off the bat were right with it.
Well,
I don't mind. You're good, man. Don't
well,
worry
there you
about
go. We figured it out for everyone. That's how you pronounce his last name.
Yeah. If you ever meet me, it's Ruel,
Yeah. Don't fuck it up.
Dumb. It shouldn't be. It's grammatically incorrect. Ruel, but still, there's no like weird accent to indicate it either. So
yeah,
but if you ever run into me, it's Ruel.
All right, so yeah, this is Chase Ruel. He has many different projects. One of them being a band that we used to be in called Tufted Deer. Another one being Freak Scene, and another one being Brain Power, and possibly another one coming.
Yeah, actually 2 coming. I've been writing a bunch of weird avant-garde pop songs. I guess pop is the best way I can explain them, because there's some catchy bits, there's some choruses, but
right.
It's basically a sorry excuse for me to splatter a bunch of weird avant-garde noises all over the place, like I like to most of the time. But this one's inside kind of pop song. So that might be coming soon. I've been working pretty hard on that, and Freak Scene has since dissolved, but look forward to some cassettes that we're doing of our last record. Should be coming down the turnpike via Almond Records. And In the Ashes, I guess, or whatever the hell that means, or whatever bands are supposed to say. The last few shows were played by a few friends of mine instead of the key members of Freak Scene that left the band. We have since started this new band, which is kind of, I guess, akin to more it's more like math rock, kind of like Battles, I guess, but it's not really like Battles at all. It's just kind of got like the dueling, kind of funky guitar parts. I don't know. New stuff from that coming at some point, but
awesome.
Yeah, those are probably coming soon.
Well,
but
there
I'm
you go.
not sure when. Distant future. I'd say distant future.
Distant future.
I'd be looking forward to that.
All right, well, there you go. And yeah, he does have projects out under Brain Power and Freak Scene. If you guys do want to check those out, they will be in the description of whatever you're listening to this on or watching this on. So feel free to check that out.
Throw Tufted Deer in there too.
Yeah. All the projects that he's been a part of will be down in the description. And when if he continues to make projects, I will update the description and put them there too. So yeah, let's dive into this. So I'm gonna ask some questions just for people that might not know you. Since I already know you, I probably know a few of these. But
before you do, real quick, we should probably put up our the Tufted Deer record on Spotify.
Yeah,
we haven't done that. Everything else has been going up on Spotify. Your solo stuff, all the Brain Power stuff will be up there in a couple weeks.
Yeah,
true. And everything's been going up on Spotify, so we should put that up there.
Yeah, that would be neat. Yeah, so maybe that'll be a thing that's showing up in the future too.
Maybe that's a thing. All right.
Let's dive right into this. So what first got you into music, whether that being actual music or maybe people in your family that played music or something? What first kind of got that little spark going in your brain to start picking up music?
I don't really know. It was very integral. It very kind of was ingrained into me from the start,
right, that
this was important. I don't know. I remember hearing I would hear I think I grew up around so much trash music. When my parents played classic rock radio, I felt like this was something. This was before, we had dial-up internet for the first, like 10 years of my life. So that's about as much as I kind of knew about was in the books that I read about music, which only kind of talked about classic rock. So basically, I'd say, like, I started out like everybody else, Zeppelin, AC/DC was huge for me.
Yeah.
Zeppelin was huge for me. Beatles were huge. Tommy by The Who was gigantic for me.
Right.
A lot of hair metal. I do not like hair metal now. I definitely think most of that's just really disgusting, kind of just like super sleazy music.
Yeah.
And a lot of it just like, reeks of like, it's like sex with minors. It's just gross. A lot of it's just like she's only 17.
The
and
vibe that it gives off, it's not very nice.
I can't dig it. But yeah, I guess that got me interested in music. Dudes like Keith Moon were really influential at first.
Okay.
And John Bonham.
Oh yeah.
They're just like really, really crazy drummers, and I was all about that shit for a good 10 years.
Yeah. So what instrument did you first pick up?
Oh, it was drums immediately. I don't know. There were some with drums that was just. It's weird. I started my my passion with drums. It started really weird. From a very young age, I very, very much was inspired through rhythm. I felt myself more gravitating towards the rhythms of certain groups, and there was always that riff, of course, because
yeah,
everyone loves a good riff. But I mean, I was very rhythmic. That's why dudes like John Bonham really, really stuck with me more than like really speedy dudes like Neil Peart and John Petrucci or John Petrucci. That's the guitarist. My bad. Mike Pomeroy, whatever, the drummer from Dream Theater. All those speedy dudes. I was more into like the rhythmic dudes. So I don't know. I kind of was beating on boxes from a really young age. My parents got me a drum set. I got bored of that. They got me a guitar instead because I said I wanted that instead. Didn't touch that ever. And then around when I was 8, around 7 or 8, I was playing drums at school a lot. And when I got home, I really wanted to keep playing drums. So I rigged up this to this day, I still think it's a pretty genius drum setup for a 12-year, for an 8-year-old to come up with.
Right.
But, a bunch of boxes with different timbres for toms.
Right.
And then, 2 tubs for, the lower floor toms. Like a pillow as, a bass drum. And then, this, I had a can that I put I can't remember what I put on the bottom of it, but I made a snare sound, and I used it as a snare. And there was a Q-tip holder that had, a little thimble thing on top that held it in place. I took that off, tied some string to that, and tied it to my bedpost and used it as a cymbal. And I would just play the Beatles records and Who records all day after school. So eventually, after about a year of beating on all my parents' Tupperware and breaking it, they eventually bought me a drum set again. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, I played drums for another about 10, not 10, about 7.5 years before I started playing guitar.
Nice. So drums was your first instrument before guitar.
Absolutely. So, it was only drums too, for a weird reason. For a really long time, I didn't feel comfortable yet. I think just because I was so young. And
yeah, a lot of drummers do move to guitar too, and they really love both. Jay Mascis is a good example too. Yeah, Dave Grohl, obviously, yeah. And so it's cool to see that, talented on both ends. So what would you say the music that you used to make versus the music that you make now, what would you say is not only the biggest thing that's changed, but also how would you describe the music that you would typically go about creating back then versus now?
Oh shit. Well,
and I mean back then I mean back then as in when you first started making music versus the music that you make now. Like when you first started to actually write maybe.
Okay. there's two answers to that question. There's the answer, whereas, you know, before it was when I was, stoned out of my mind playing fish with a bunch of buddies for
Yeah.
about, 5 hours and playing 4-hour gigs at places in Vermont,
Yeah.
just playing fish songs because old, burnt out hippies loved that shit, and, a bunch of people would come.
Right.
And, we'd get smoked out and we'd get, paid pretty good. So, I didn't mind. I liked playing the drums to those songs. They were fun.
So
it
when
was
you
that
Go ahead.
versus, versus, all the crazy messed up noise music and experimental rock that I'd be pumping out now.
Yeah, yeah. So you would
But-
say when you first started
Yeah.
it was more for just for the fun of playing drums rather than like the art of creating music.
Well, that's the thing. I wanted it so bad to be something else. Like,
But
I
you
was
just couldn't
playing,
get there
like,
somehow. You just couldn't find the
yeah,
way.
yeah, yeah. I was in Vermont, so it was very small. There was nobody to really play music with. So
Right, right.
basically, I would be playing drums in this jam band most nights, and doing these gigs around town. And then when I wasn't doing that and wasn't practicing, because we practice all the time, because jam band's got to be tight. If you're going to play 45 minutes a song, you got to be fucking good. So we had to be really tight, with our jams. So we practiced all the time. But so if I wasn't doing that, I was just, jumping off my drum set and as a 15-year-old, playing all these power chords that I knew, figuring out what feedback was,
Punk rock stuff.
figuring
yeah.
out that really cool sound when you turn up the repeat knob on your delay pedal and twiddle the time knob, do that thing.
Yeah.
I was figuring that shit out. Meanwhile, when I was, just playing the drums, so that way when I moved to Florida, I met you, I knew what to do.
yeah. Well, that's
And,
awesome.
Yeah, that's more the real kind of birth of, how I started playing this kind of music was with you, actually. That was the first time I kind of caught the bug of playing experimental and noisy music opposed to just listening to it.
What would you say the creative process is for you now when you go about making music?
Okay, well, yeah, it's weird. It doesn't really stop. It's constant. It's wherever I am.
It's kind of
And
linear.
I hear a sample that's tight as fuck. I always got to capture that sample, and or I'm always thinking about the tracks that I was just working on and what little details need to be fixed or that could use extra things.
So it's kind of just a constant
it's kind of something
thing.
that's always on my mind, and I always just kind of know what to do when I get back into that mind space.
So it's kind of like a linear, constant thing going on.
Yeah, it's always just like it's always like I capture some sort of loop or sample or sound or some sort of like thing like that, and I'm like, that's cool as shit. I'm going to let that ride, and then I always build kind of things around it, and that's definitely really prevalent with ambient music, but I've actually found that to be really like an interesting tool when writing, like, I guess more like songs, because you need something like an interesting hook there. And I'm not a super talented singer, so I got to let a cool sample or an interesting guitar loop or something like that be that catchy, thing, that little sticky melody for me, opposed to, something I can sing, even though, like, I try sometimes, and some work better than others, but
Right.
yeah, it's more like I rely on that to build songs, but also build, ambience and build drones and stuff like that. It's kind of like samples are a really great tool for inspiration.
Yeah, they really are.
Yeah, so basically, everything is birthed from a sample, usually.
It's all sample based. How would you say this kind of goes? This kind of goes into just the industry itself when it comes to music. Do you think that in the age of like SoundCloud and Bandcamp and all these services, do you think it's a good thing for artists to be focused on the internet side of things, or do you think that artists should be more focused on just the work itself rather than the social aspect of it, I guess?
I think both is just as important.
Both is just
Like
as important.
at the end of the day, I think it's important enough to put the cart in front of the horse.
Yeah.
That's why I'm not really blasting a ton of shit out there, because I mean, what I've been working on under the hood is yet to come out, and I think that's going to be my next thing that I'm really excited and really think, like, when I really think people need to hear something from me, that's when I'll let everybody know they need to hear it. But for the most part, I kind of don't, go out of my way to market yet. And I think it's important not to put the cart in front of the horse, because you only make your first impression once with most people. So you got to make sure you got a straight up banger in the vault for people to listen to. Right. That you're like, hey, check out my song. Before you're able to, market off that. And before that, I would say try to just work on refining your shit. And,
so you do think that the internet can affect how an artist goes about making music? Because you said,
oh, absolutely.
Because you said, you have to come out with a great first impression. Whereas if you just let an artist create without, the thought of having to put that out to the world, do you think that would change the art? Do you think the art would be more genuine, or do you think the art would just be the same?
I think the art would be just as valid, because I think art, no matter what, it will be found and it will be discovered. Think about, cases what about Slint in American football? A bunch of dudes my age that I like to hang out with that straight worship those bands. Those dudes were just high schoolers, didn't even know what they were doing. 20 years later, apparently they have a huge cult following that they had no clue about, because they broke up because they had to go to college.
Right, yeah. It seemed to happen to a lot of people, especially in that kind of era of things where
exactly.
They would just make albums.
They're one record and done, because they all got,
and that's kind of that was kind of my point. Is I was just kind of getting at especially with a lot of the newer musicians coming out, because this series is on smaller or current musicians. I just feel like the internet can really influence a lot of people as far as what they actually put out versus what they might actually like, if that makes sense. They might really like something that they created, but they might not put it out because of people aren't gonna like this or anything like that. And I feel like that holds a lot of people back. I feel like that can get in the way of a lot of more of the current artists, and it kind of sucks. But it's also nice to see when people avoid that and go the opposite way, and they just put out whatever they want, which is in your case, because obviously with brain power and stuff like that, that's not commercial music.
Dropping albums every 30 minutes from brain power,
and it's not commercial music, so clearly you don't care about that aspect of it. You just make music for the art of making music.
I bet you didn't even notice that I dropped an album since the big one that I've been telling you about. Dude, I can't even remember the title of my own record. Oh my god, I'm being an idiot. When I was recording "Someday You'll Destroy Yourself," I had a couple extra tracks and kind of pieces that I had wanted to work in there, but I really wanted that record to be really kind of a tight 50-minute spooky power electronics banger that's just a lot of drones, a lot of noise, a lot of really creepy samples, and a lot of reversed shit, a lot of crushed distortion, a lot of all this other stuff, pitch shifting, modulation. I wanted to pump out a really messed up droning power electronics album, which I think I did, and I think you all should go listen to it, because it's probably the best brain power release to date. But
will be in the description.
I just 2 days ago, or yesterday or 2 days ago, I just dropped Trauma and Skin Grafts, which right now it's as Untitled. on Bandcamp, but the Spotify version is going to be Trauma and Skin Grafts. I'm going to re-edit that because I kind of liked it as being blank and untitled, but I also kind of liked the parts being named and like having their own kind of like, you know, because they are really individual sections. Like they all have their own kind of like feeling, shit like that. So, but it's a really short one. It's only like 30 minutes long, but you know,
yeah,
go check it out.
So
it'll be in the link.
Just a quick question about the Brain Power project. Where did the name Brain Power actually come from?
Now this is weird. I don't know how I came up with it. I came up with it when I was 16. No, I was 15. I was 15, and I was playing guitar with this. There was this one kid I used to play music with. He'd play guitar, I'd play drums, and, you know, we'd jam a little bit. It was pretty fun. But I ended up coming up with, we recorded a little thing, and I put it up on Bandcamp, and I just kind of, like, picked the name Brain Power. I don't know. I thought it was a really cool name.
Just kind of came up with it.
Nothing super special. I just hear everybody use it so much.
Yeah,
you know,
it actually
like, it takes a lot of brain power. You use your brain power, you know, this, that.
Yeah.
And I always kind of thought it was a really cool statement, like brain power. Like, this is shit I did with the power of my brain. Like, this is just like a weird fleshy organ in my head.
Yeah.
That's just generating all this shit. I always found that was super cool, that it's just like there's a power that radiates from it. So, I don't know, I just kind of feel like I make this music through brain power. I don't know, I thought of it really young, and then I thought it would stick pretty good as like an ambient and drone and noise, post-rock, IDM, whatever the hell else. I don't know. There's a billion different genres you could tag brain power as, but
yeah.
I don't know. It's very, very much ambient. It's just, you know, expect a lot of ambience.
A lot of ambience.
But, you know, it dabbles its toes into a lot of different things.
Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah. All right. So let's. I'm gonna step away from the music questions just for a second. Just kind of throw some fun ones in there. Just something that you've done that might have gotten you in trouble. That was just a really funny story.
Here's this. I broke my sink at my old house, and my parents are gonna have to renovate that house before they move it, and I still haven't told them that I broke that sink. So that's gonna be a really fucking uncomfortable conversation.
They're just gonna walk into a broken sink.
Man. That's a tough question. Okay, here's one that I think is still kind of stupid to this day. I accidentally broke the cable on this a shop vac. You know, a shop vac? Like those vacuums that are in a garage, and you can use them to like have like an intense ass suction. You use them to like vacuum your car. They can like suck up water and stuff like that. Yeah. So they had one, and I was putting stuff away. I dropped this like it was like this that they use the paint, but it was it was this really long stick basically.
Yeah.
With like a razor blade at the end of it, and I dropped it on the cable, and I didn't realize I did, and it cut through the wire, and I went to plug it in, and it didn't work. So for the next, what was it? 3 months, my parents took away basically everything I owned. I had I couldn't watch TV, I couldn't do this, I couldn't hang out with friends.
Right.
I couldn't use my phone until I paid that back, and I had to do chores around the house for months. Yeah, I guess that's the most. I didn't really do a bunch of bad stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know. I didn't really see the point.
Dicking around as a kid, But yeah.
But I still think that's kind of stupid. They could have at least, it was the summertime. They could have just let me have some friends over and let me use my iPod.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
I'd still, work for $5 an hour.
Yeah. So I'm gonna hop back into the back into the other questions.
Okay,
So
for sure.
what would you say is, I guess, the biggest upside and downside to being an artist?
I mean, I don't know. I'm yet to find a downside. I mean, I guess finding times to play.
Money.
I mean, especially, yeah, money, because, you know, you constantly want new gear,
Yeah.
and you constantly want that. You know, for me, it's like a new synth or a new pedal. I always want a new synth or a new pedal. I mean, I could use a new guitar for sure, because I just got, like, you know, the typical, you know, the sleeper that I've always been playing ever since we were playing together. And I got like a, you know, a couple pretty nice, I got a pretty nice amp and, you know, an amp that gets me by and is definitely way loud to peel the paint off your walls, both of them. So, you know, they're great for touring. And, you know, they're not worth a ton of money, so in case they get damaged, it won't be
a big
the end
deal.
of the world. But, yeah, so I guess, you know, guitars and amps, I don't really need too much else, but, you know, I could always use a new pedal and whatnot. That's one of the biggest complaints is just, you know, I want more gear, man.
Yeah, so that would be the downside, is just constantly wanting
I
more
want
gear.
more fucking gear.
I get that, yeah.
You know, it's just more, it's more stuff I can.
There's
more
never
toys that
there's
I can
never
make
enough.
Cool songs out.
Yeah, I feel that. Yeah, just having a little studio to yourself of just weird instruments and just all sorts of gear and stuff is just, it's a toy room. It's an adult toy room. It really is.
It's an absolute huge playground. That's how I view my setup. It's just like the drum machine and the modular synths and all my other synths and the kalimba and the pedal board and my guitar and, you know, and all my samples and, you know, all my loopers and all that crazy shit.
Yeah.
It's just like it's just a river of creativity. Like it never runs dry. There's always something to find in there. But, you know, honestly, I'm starting to, like, you know, wish there was a little bit more stuff, because, like, I'll notice, like, that would, you know, this would be really cool there, but I don't have anything that does that. So I need to get stuff that does those things.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, so I need some sort of sample pad and some sort of voice sampler. Then I guess, like, some flange and verb, I don't know. But, you know, I don't know. I guess mainly just need gear, but also I think, honestly, I'm at a point right now where my standards aren't high enough for me to have any downsides about music, because honestly, music is just kind of like the best thing about being alive to me, especially in 2020.
I agree.
Like in a world that's just been a huge, you know, 8-month-long slap to the face.
Yeah.
You know, it presumably, you know, might get better, might get worse, who knows? But, you know, everything's still so up in the air and stressful. Music is the only thing that kind of makes sense still, and really kind of like feels comforting. So, like, I can't say that there is too much of a downside, because it's always been there. Like, even when I don't want to play, there's always, you know, people talking about music. Like, I always want to see who's reviewing the newest whatever, and, you know, whoever's interviewing whoever, and, you know, whatnot. Or, you know, checking out, you know, listening to my record collection or browsing shit on Discogs. There's always something about music that's there to be taken advantage of for me. That's just, that I can just, it's a never ending, like, source of just pure, like, you know, endorphins to me. Like, that's it to me.
Yeah.
That's why I'm here. That's why I wake up in the morning, is to not just make music, but to just enjoy music, and to, you know, not just be a part of the music, but to see from the outside of music, and, you know, to, you know, tap on the glass from the outside. And I spent so many years doing that. It's so cool to now be a part of it and try and you know, be making my own projects and be talking to such phenomenal musicians such as yourself and, you know, all our buddies. And it's, you know, it's a trip. It's a real trip.
It really is, man. I agree 100%. I feel the same way.
Yeah.
It's the reason why we wake up. And I think the community is so great. This is why I'm also doing this, is I just want to bring not only light to the smaller communities of musicians, but just to kind of get everyone together, because I really feel that us musicians really need to support and like just like, I don't know, just build a community with each other, like whatever the music is. I just feel like with the whole industry right now, where there's so many musicians, and I'm not going to name any or anything, that have just, it's pretty obvious they've been planted there for money reasons, you know what I mean? And it's just, and it's kind of sad sometimes, because it kind of brings...
But I mean, the thing to me that, sorry, I didn't want to interrupt you, but
you're good.
The thing to me that's really phenomenal about that, though, is that the internet is a huge interjection and slap to the face of that, because, like,
well, that's what I was getting at.
Don't work anymore. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was getting at. I was gonna say, is, like, with all that going on, I was gonna say that it's nice to see, like, all these, smaller musicians, like, just coming together. Like, it's almost like that stuff doesn't even exist anymore. It's starting to dissipate. Exactly. Is what and I think it's great, because not only are we helping each other just by, like, even just listening, but I feel like for a lot of people, the sense of community is just really nice to have, especially with something, like music, which really, I feel open, it's a very personal thing, to for some people to make music, some people not, but yeah, I think the sense of community is really good. Do you think, where I was getting with this is, like, how do you think that these communities can grow and, like, support each other the best ways? Like, what do you think that smaller musicians and just musicians in general should be doing? Well, not should be doing, because, don't tell people what to do, but
yeah,
what's as far as, like, supporting DIY venues or, stuff like that?
Well, yeah, I think I can only, judge what I do by what I do. So I think, like, yeah, what I've been doing recently is just, like, I don't know, usually, like, I don't know, I used to see a bunch of bands, and that would just, like, pop in my feed that I didn't know about, and I would gloss over them. But I think now in the coming years, I've been kind of, like, discovering so many different branches of music.
Exactly. That's what I've been doing, too. Yeah.
Yeah, and, like, I've been discovering so much music that the people that I find that I end up stumbling upon that I don't know that are current end up being,
some
phenomenal dudes. Like, yeah, like your example with Poorly Drawn House.
Yeah, exactly. Just
we just found out about Poorly Drawn House because I found out about our huge, like, Hood fans.
Yeah, I found out about Poorly Drawn House through another smaller band, so that's what I'm saying. And yeah,
how'd you hear about them?
I heard about them through a band called Sprain. I mean, they're not like small.
Yeah. Poorly Drawn House was promoting Sprain. I checked out their newest record. It's fucking awesome.
It's fucking awesome. Yeah. So
tag them all.
But yeah, no, I agree with you saying kind of that's what I was kind of getting at is the whole, like, scrolling when you said that you used to scroll and kind of just, not really pay attention to those people maybe on social media or Bandcamp or whatever it is. But I feel now that I've just kind of gotten more of the sense of the not only the community, but, like, just the DIY-ness of music, just, like, so many people are doing this themselves. I just like checking it out. I really love seeing new musicians, and a lot of them some of those musicians end up being, like, some of my favorites. I mean, for example, great example is even Doug, or the Sleeping Bag. You found him through what, like Instagram or something?
Yeah, actually, I can't honestly 100% remember how I stumbled upon Doug's Instagram, or maybe he stumbled upon mine. But I think we ended up following each other at one point, and I think one of us hit each other up because I think one of us posted, like, Wilco on our story or something like that. Me and Doug are huge Wilco fans. We both saw him last year, and they were fucking insane. We both saw him on the same tour, not together. I wish that would have been cool.
Yeah.
I saw him in Boston. He saw him in Louisville, but or maybe he didn't see him in Louisville. He's probably saw him.
I just saw him in Nashville.
You saw them?
No, I said he might have saw him in Nashville.
He saw them in Nashville. Yeah, why didn't you go? Weren't you going to go?
No. I was saying he might have saw them in Nashville. I don't know if he did.
I think he's.
No, I almost went and saw Black Meaty with him.
Yeah.
But I didn't get the chance to, so. Which really blew, because that would have been an awesome show. That would have been an awesome show. But yeah, no.
Oh my God.
But I was just getting at the whole internet thing. I feel is really just bringing people together. But yeah, just finding people like that. But let's get into the other projects of that you've been a part of. So I want to talk a little bit about Freak Scene, because there's not a lot known about that either. How did that whole thing start, and how did it kind of end at the same time?
Okay. All right. So, real quick before I was gonna bring up this guy, RPBGV. It's it's 90% of the time I forget his name because a couple letters that I can never remember.
Right.
But I just wanted to bring some attention to him. Whoever's listening to this, he makes some really, really awesome, like trippy, like I guess trip hop inspired, glitch hop, and also a bit of like slowcore in there. There's a couple like Sparkle Horse ish ballads in there. Like, yeah, I don't know if you've heard his new record. I think I might have told you about.
I might have. The name sounds familiar, but I don't know.
Yeah, it's super good. I'm working on a review for the record. It is really great. So yeah, anyone who's listening to this, go check that out too. He's doing great stuff.
Yeah. I'll put the link down there if I remember to.
All right, good shit.
Yeah. All right, so with Freak Scene, tell me about where it kind of started and where it kind of started to end, or how it ended.
Well, okay, so it started around when you left to go to Nashville. After you left, you introduced me to Tyler, and Noah had been kind of playing with us like in and out throughout the time. And after that, I just kind of accepted that the band was over, and I was like kind of bummed. And but then I heard We've Come So Far by A Place to Bury Strangers, and watched their live videos and watched them like smash guitars and just be fucking nuts. And I really wanted to play a cover of that song and really wanted to beat up a guitar. And Noah was like, I have this guitar that I don't use that, if you want to beat up to that song, you can. If you want to jam, we should jam. And then I was like, hell yeah, we should jam. And hit up Tyler, and he wanted to jam. So we just played that Place to Bury Strangers cover. Broke Noah's guitar. That was fun. And then after that, we just started jamming, and it was really fun. It was really noisy. It was a lot like the shit that we were playing with you, except it was a little bit less. We were a little bit more indulgent in the post rock and the experimental side. And while Freak Scene still was pretty experimental, because I was the head of that group, so I was making it as weird as I possibly could without them getting mad at me. Them being like, I can't play that. What are you, crazy?
Harsh noise.
Yeah, no, I remember Noah almost quit one time because I was trying to get him to play this weird mathy rhythm on the drums. So I was really into math rock. Yeah, because he just couldn't get it. So I was like, damn, it's fine. He's not a drummer anyway. No one in Freak Scene was ever drummers. Neither was Austin when we were in Tufted Deer.
I can play drums not as shitty.
Not as shitty.
And it's literally because Chase just needed a drummer, and I was down because I never played.
Yeah, everyone. Yeah. It's just everyone wanted to be in a band, and that's they accepted that. I just kind of was like, if whoever writes this, at first it was like whoever writes the songs can, pick what part they want to play as an instrument.
Yeah.
But just no one really ended up writing songs, and I just ended up writing all the songs. So I was just like, okay, I guess I just kept wanting to be doing guitar and vocals. So I was just like, whoa, guitar and vocals. So it just ended up being me guitar and vocals, Noah drums, and Tyler bass. Except for a couple songs where we ended up doing rotations on instrumentation. But yeah, so it started like that, and around December we had released our first single. November we released our first single, Consumer Cult, and then we dropped our second double single in January, and I think we dropped a full length and an EP around May. May we dropped Power Trippin', which was our first album, which you can't find anywhere else now because all those songs are now just have either been deleted because they aren't good enough, or they're on Freak Scene is Dead. And that's on Bandcamp, and it's also on Spotify, and there's cassettes coming out very soon. Green Variant out of 25. Just, I don't know, also probably tag my Instagram or something like that. Just hit me up if you want one. I'll let you know when they're pressed. But
yeah, and I'll put the link down then in the description to whatever you're selling that on whenever you get those.
Yeah, for sure. They'll just be like, $7, or whatever. But yeah, so we released that, and then we released the EP Freak Scene is Dead, which is where we just got the track Freak Scene is Dead. The rest of the EP was scrapped because it wasn't very good. And then we ended up I ended up moving away. The band went on hiatus for about 6 months. That is actually around the time, and then a couple months into me being in Vermont is when I came up with the idea to do Brain Power and release the first 2 albums under Brain Power in Vermont.
So Brain Power, you say, was just kind of a necessary thing, just needing to put music out?
It was just like a way to record music and just keep creating while I wasn't making music.
Did it start off as just more of like a experimental recording project, or did it start off as a genuine like I'm gonna make this a full-time, or not full-time, but like a full-on project, or was it kind of just for fun at first?
It was definitely just for fun at first. It was definitely because I was just creating loops, and I was just recording these like 10-second, 20-second videos of the loop in its entirety and putting them on my stories and whatnot, and people would just really like them. But
so it's more of just I just want to put these out, kind of like.
Yeah, but it wasn't like that, because the thing is I didn't think that I thought they were good, but they weren't that good because you didn't hear every layer develop into what it became. So I recorded just loops from the ground up, whether it be through guitar. My first record was all guitar, and the second record was all kalimba and guitar. And a lot of it drones just created by feedback, distortion, the weird compression knob on my Fuzz Factory,
yeah,
and various samples and loops, and things done on my synths and on my Korg Volca sample. Basically, is how I just kind of came up with all the Brain Power stuff. And at first, it was all just loops that I recorded, and then I around I don't know, about right now. Around right now is when I started to kind of take it more seriously.
Right.
Because I really liked the whole just recording loops, but they didn't make for super riveting records. I wanted to create a good ambient album, and my mind became set on that, and I became more. I started experimenting with concepts around when I put out Deserted, and then after that, I just kind of put out more just random loops and stuff and whatever I was working on. It was more comp style, whatever loops I had in the roster, and some interludes, all of them together as a record. And then I released I Have a Special Plan for This World record. No, a single. And that got me more into writing around concepts. And then over the next couple months, I crafted, Someday You'll Destroy Yourself. And that's, my most recent one, the one that I've been working on for a while, and I'm really stoked about.
Yeah.
And also the new project, the new EP record, untitled thing to go along with it.
So let's dive back into Freak Scene so we don't forget about that.
Oh yeah,
so,
exactly. Yeah, that was kind of a bit of a tangent back into brain power.
So I'm good. So we were talking about so you moved to Vermont and did the brain power thing.
Yeah, and then I moved back and was still continuing the brain power thing in Venice, when I moved back to Venice, Florida, and started to just got back together with the Freak Scene dudes. Started playing music, and I thought it was done. That's why the last EP was called Freak Scene Is Dead. I thought that was it right there.
Right.
But lo and behold, we wrote about 5 new tracks. Recorded a new EP with my friend Randy producing it, and it sounded really good. I think it's honestly best stuff that we did. I think the Modern Man EP.
Yeah.
I think that's hands down the best stuff we did as Freak Scene.
I really enjoyed that one a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, and but now you can't find any of it. It's all the best stuff is under Freak Scene Is Dead. It's on Spotify. Yep. And once again, all that stuff's everywhere. But I ended up just kind of putting it out as a comp because shortly after that, we started playing shows when I moved up to St. Pete, because I started talking to people and meeting people and all that fun stuff.
Right.
We played a few shows. It was really fun, but I could tell Tyler wasn't really into it anymore. And once I talked to Tyler about it, and he was like, I don't really want to do the band anymore, so he quit. And once he quit, that was Noah's ride to St. Pete to be able to practice and play shows, so he couldn't play. And then I ended up playing the last few shows with this new group that is currently unnamed, but we're working on new stuff.
So can we expect to maybe see something from that?
Probably next year. You could probably expect an EP and a tour.
Okay, cool.
Of some sort, maybe even an album, single, I don't know, probably some sort of vinyl release, I don't know.
All right, that sounds awesome.
Yeah, I'm excited for that, but yeah, that kind of leaves the music career where it is right now. Just a couple new things coming down the turnpike at some point.
So Freak Scene just kind of died out towards the end because of that, and
it kind of fizzled out. It was kind of unfortunate. It was a really good time, though. It was a really good time. I really liked being in that band.
Do you think that if the whole band breaking up thing didn't happen, do you think you guys would still be jamming together and stuff and doing shit like that, or do you think it would have just kind of eventually happened anyways, regardless?
Well, I think that was it. I think that really was it. I could tell Tyler really wasn't, even though that was our best.
Was it just because of the shows, or just because of the music in general?
And all that kind of stuff. No, Tyler just kind of, I don't know. I could tell he kind of, his opinion towards the band turned sour right after the Freak Scene Is Dead EP, and I moved away. When I moved back, I could tell he wasn't eager to join the band again.
Right.
He actually was like, I didn't really want to do the band, but then we ended up just recording more, and we put together that EP, and it was really good.
So you could kind of just feel that it was going to happen anyways.
Yeah, you could feel. You knew it was going to happen. Now that, I want to get them to be able to do these promo shoots for the cassette, because I'd like some, a couple cool band photos for the cassette.
Because you guys did some pretty cool shows when you guys were playing. Some really nice
we
DIY
did play
shows.
A few good ones, yeah.
Yeah, they looked really fun.
It was definitely a really good time. I missed playing shows. That was a real bummer. We played right up until quarantine was done. We played we played a good run of like, I don't know, what was it? Five shows or something like that right up until quarantine in 2015. So that
Yeah,
was nice to be able to do, to move up here and immediately just do a bunch of shows.
yeah.
And
Freak
then
scene
have
basically
quarantine.
is just Tufted Deer, but with
Yeah, it's the evolved version of Tufted Deer.
yeah, it just without me.
Yeah,
Just
honestly, well, that would just make it me.
yeah, exactly. I mean,
Plus
well,
two more
Tyler
dudes.
didn't. I don't think Tyler ever did anything for Tufted Deer though. That's the thing.
Yeah, he was on like a stunnery doom jam that we never put out.
Was he? I can't remember.
Yeah, you remember that we had like a 10-minute long like stoner jam.
I
Like
we jammed so much that I can't. But probably yeah.
yeah, we
I
recorded a lot of stuff, so it's kind of hard to
really
tell.
did.
Sorry, I'm sniffling.
You're good, man. I just wish we kind of. I just wish the Tufted Deer stuff was recorded on better equipment and stuff because I feel like the songs could have been
Yeah,
just a lot. But I kind of dig it though. I kind of dig the
it's
shitty
super
quality.
blown out. It kind of reminds me of like a Times New Viking record because it's just
It reminds me of
so
just like an old punk cassette you just find somewhere. Like not even punk because it's not really that much of a punk record, but
it feels like a band long forgotten on on
like a time capsule.
1989 on Touch and Go.
Exactly. Yeah. It was kind of
like
a.
No one cared about them, but
no
they were
one
kind
does.
of cool.
Yeah, and then Freak Scene happened, but yeah, I think we've basically gotten to cover all the music projects so far right now.
Yeah,
I mean, unless you want to cover
how far I've gotten.
Yeah, unless you want to cover stuff about Tufted Deer, I think that's pretty much.
I mean, there's not too much to say. Like, we just, well, I could just say how I met you, which was fun. We were in school, and I had ridden the bus with your girlfriend at the time, and she was cool. We had talked a little bit, and I had sat and I was placed next to you guys.
Yeah.
And I saw you with a Guns N' Roses T-shirt, and I was like,
fuck that.
Yeah,
it's because I had nothing to wear, probably.
Confederate bastard. I was like, who is this asshole? And then I
had no shirts back then, man. I had nothing to wear.
Yeah, no, I feel that. But
yeah.
I looked down and noticed his shoes, and he's got the flipper fish just carved into it or some shit.
Yeah, I had
the Flipper logo, and I was like, yeah, no way. And we just started talking noise rock and, became homies.
Yeah. That was a fun time.
Yeah, and then
I think we jammed that week too, like sometime that week.
Pretty immediate. And I was already playing music with Noah, not Noah Ronka, the Freak Scene Noah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Noah Scrace.
Yeah, which I actually might be collaborating with soon.
I know, we might be doing a thing with him.
Yep. I just gotta start adding stuff to it and.
Did he send it to you already?
Sent me a little kind of snippet thing that I'm supposed to add some stuff to and kind of figure stuff out. I haven't gotten around to it yet because I've been so busy with having to go on this trip and stuff and.
No worries.
Bunch of other shit, but expect to see something.
Because I would love to, have my hands on that.
Yeah, it's probably gonna be a collaboration with my my new electronic project. So yeah, that'll be cool. But yeah, I think we've really touched everything as far as the music that you've currently put out. But yeah, if there's anything else that you kind of want to say or add, go ahead. Anyone you want to shout out, now's the time to do it. Anything like that, go for it.
Nothing really. Just like I said, listen. If you're in the mood for some ambient and experimental, kind of moody, drony, noisy, and kind of spooky and ominous dark ambient and noise music, check out my brain power stuff. If you like noise rock and no wave and a lot of feedback, like you're really into like the Jesus Lizard or stuff like that, I'd say check out Freak Scene. And if you want to hear what would happen if a couple Slint wannabes absolutely decimated a microphone with noise rock, and want to hear probably the most distorted and loud record I've ever heard in my entire life, check out Tufted Deer. That's there too. And check out my boy Austin stuff. Check out Gnomewalls stuff. There's some good stuff in there.
Yeah. Sounds
right,
good. I just lost a pick in my drawer. I don't know how that happened. Yeah. All right, but yeah, so that's gonna wrap up the interview. Links in the descriptions for all of his music, and my music will be down there too. So I hope everyone enjoyed this, and peace.
For sure.